Welcome to Out with Dan, the podcast that spotlights and examines the voices of LGBTQ+ authors, characters, and our allies. Together, we lift our voices and we tell our stories. I'm Dan White. Join me as I chat with this week's author. That's it. Hello and welcome back to Out with Dan. Today, I'm excited to talk to Patricia Smiley about A Dark September Night. Patty is the former vice president of Mystery Writers of America here in Southern California, and she's also the former president of Sisters in Crime, of which I'm a member. I'm a member of both of them. Welcome, Patty.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
It's good to be with you as well. So I was telling Patty before we started recording that I just enjoyed her latest book. It's your 8th novel, is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, wonderful. Will you give the audience an overview of what A Dark September Night is about?
Yes. It's about secrets, lies, and spies. And it's a traditional amateur sleuth novel in a cozy setting, which means it's a small town, kind of quirky small town people, lots of, behind the scenes secrets and things that are withheld. And the setup is that Emmeline McCoy, by the way, is the name of my great-grandmother.
I love that.
Yeah, arrives at the office in downtown LA one Monday morning, gets a phone call that her beloved Aunt Liddy has been killed in a hit-and-run accident. And she's shocked, of course. And she's told by the attorney who calls that she has to come right away to Justice Bay, which is a small coastal town in Northern California, to settle her aunt's estate. So she asks for 2 weeks of bereavement leave and drives up the coast to Justice Bay. And that's when things start turning interesting. And not in a good way.
They do indeed, Patty. I tell you, you really do have all of the elements of a small town down pat. Patty and I have met each other in person, and she knows I'm from Eastern North Carolina. And I grew up in a very small town, very similar in size to Justice Bay. And I thought you really nailed it for someone who lives here in LA. You surely nailed the small town feeling. Was there any kind of model on this small town?
Well, Camden, Maine, for one thing. But I come from not a small town, but a small-ish town. I think there are about 48,000 people there. But it has a lot of the elements of a small town. But I don't know. I just decided that that's what I wanted to do. And I'm not sure why, but yeah, it was just a change from writing all about a city of 3 million people in a county of 10 million people. It was just a pleasant change for me to try something different. And
I think you said,
although the town is fictional, it's more, think Mendocino. That's kind of the area.
Okay. All right. It was, I really enjoyed it. I haven't really been much north of San Francisco. I have been up to Napa, and I've been up to Sausalito and a little bit further up. But I understand in really Northern California, there are a lot of charming little villages. And I really could picture, you created such a vivid village with Justice Bay. You did such a great job with it.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun. I looked up things and people who were commenting, and they said, well, in my small town, there was this store and that store and that store, because that was important, because I didn't really know what kind of stores would be in a small town, because there's a larger town about 45 minutes away with a shopping mall and all. But, there's really kind of limited stuff there.
There are, but I do say that, where I like living in the large city, because you can sort of get away with things because you don't run into all of your neighbors every day. In the small town, you run into all your neighbors every day. And that is something that happens with Emmeline here. She runs into people. So I should say that, to give an audience a little bit of a flavor, Emmeline spends the first years, every two weeks every summer until she's 13 with her beloved aunt. And then after 13, Emmeline's father has passed away, and her mother and aunt are estranged, so they stop. So she knows some of the residents in Justice Bay, and she re-meets some of them, and I really enjoyed that re-meeting of people she knew in the past. And I do for a day job, I do accounting, and I say Patty Smiley is good at mathing because one of your characters says, well, it's only been 18 years. You want me to tell you what happened in all 18 years? And I loved it because it had been exactly 18 years since she was last in Justice Bay for a long period of time. Congratulations, Patty. You get an A+ for arithmetic.
I am so afraid of getting the math wrong that I do a reverse chronology and I put down all the days. Because when I say, oh, when she was 18, she was here, and I thought, oh, was she really? And so I list all the dates, and I have to make sure that what I'm saying that happened in the past actually happened as I said it, because I don't want to get caught by my readers making math errors.
Well,
Like I don't want to have that happen.
Well, I will tell you that because you got an A+, I'll tell you about it. Had you failed at it, I would not have mentioned it. So, because I do have the ability to get past it. But when you do math for a day-to-day job, you're accustomed to it. And occasionally I'll go out to dinner and I'll make a flub on the check. And my friends are like, are you sure you're still doing that job? I'm like, yes, shut up. Because we're human. We make errors occasionally.
I think that really, that point, the age and time thing was really, it really soaked in. I was teaching a class once at a conference, a writing class, and someone in the class, I was asking people to fill in a timeline. And so one of the writers said that her character was an army officer, and the army officer was doing this and that and the other. And so I said, well, I asked the class, I said, well, what was going on in 1990, whatever it was, I can't remember the date. And one person raised their hand and they said, the war in Iraq. And the writer went, oh, because she knew that her character could not have been doing what they were doing. They would have been probably deployed to Iraq. So it was really pressed upon me how important it is to do this reverse timeline.
I agree. And I am working on something now that's set in 1971, and I was born in 1963, so I remember 1971 adjacent, but I don't remember all of the flavor of it. So I'm doing a lot of musical deep dives to get things that spark memories of things that were in 1971. J.C. Penney's was still very big in 1971. It's almost gone now. But so you have to know what was there then and get it right, because there are some people out there who do a deep dive. Occasionally, if you give me an address, I'll look it up in the middle of reading a book. So because I'm curious at what it looks like.
Exactly, and I think it's wonderful that you're doing that. It's really, really hard, but and it takes a lot of. And I know you're interviewing people now and talking to people, but the war was escalating before it came to an end. Back then there was protests on the streets, student marches, the tax squad on campuses, all of that. Really interesting time.
It definitely is, and it fits into what I'm trying to, the mood I'm trying to evoke. And so I'm like, okay, I like the muscle cars from the late 60s. So I'm like, okay, I like these, they get to figure into it as well.
Yeah. Well, I commend you. I can read it.
Oh, well, thank you. So I was not a little struck. I was struck by the fact that you write great romance as well. So this mystery has a lot of romance in it, but well done romance, Patty. Is romance anything you've tackled in the past?
Well, no, not specifically. However, I have to say that all 8 of my novels have 3 elements in them other than mystery, and that is humor, romance, and pets. Because to me, life isn't really much worth living without all those 3 elements. And I think those are the 3 elements that, to me at least, that are very important in life. So yes, there's always some romance in my novels, and there's always my pets. the cat Boo in this book is actually my cat, Riley.
Oh, I love it. Did Riley get upset that you didn't name Boo Riley, or
No,
was
she doesn't
Riley
mind.
okay? Good. I like it. I like it. I
She's
did
very
like so that was something that you did with Cooper, who is Emmeline's love interest, so to speak, in the book. Um, you gave Cooper that Cooper is the kind of man that everyone falls in love with: men, women, children, and animals. And I liked that about Cooper. You know, Cooper was such a solid character in this story. Was there anyone that you were thinking of when you were writing about that? You're free to say your husband, but
You know what? All of my characters are sort of a composite of people that I've known in my life. And I have known men that are really handsome and clever and intelligent who really don't realize that they are. And I find that very compelling. It's a kind of humility that attracts me. And so that's what I tried to do with Cooper. And he's had some trauma in his own life too. His backstory is, you know, he was a very high profile lawyer in San Francisco, and something happened in the firm that just shattered him, and about the lack of compassion among his lawyer friends. So he's had trauma in his life too. And, you know, I don't know, I just tried to bring that all in, and it does match. I pick here and there from people I know and just throw it all into a character.
I
I mean,
like it.
Emmeline's Aunt Liddy is a composite of all the fierce, you know, free-spirited women that I've known in my lifetime. And so I just put them all of those good characteristics in her.
Well, and I
I have
love it.
traveled a lot in my life. And just a side note, all the collective, you know, Emmeline opens a collectible store. Everything in that collectible store is in my house that things I've collected while I've been traveling.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I am a collector as well. So you know, and things remind me of where I've been. Obviously, I mean, you know, if you buy something that says Hawaii on it, obviously you know you bought it in Hawaii. But the totem pole I bought on the North Shore in Hawaii, it could be Central American, but it isn't. It's from the North Shore of the Big Island in Hawaii, and
How,
I will forever remember that.
how big is it?
It's about 8 inches tall.
I did not know that Hawaiians had totem poles.
Yeah, I didn't either until I was there, and they have. So I guess along the North Shore, they seem to be very prevalent there, and I was like, oh, I like that. Or
Is it?
I hope I'm calling it the right thing. It looks like a totem pole, but you
Well,
know,
I'm sure that's what it is. Was it on the Big Island?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I love the Big Island.
Its energy is
So
very different. It's a beautiful place.
diverse. You know, from
Yes,
Gila to Kona, it's just a totally different world.
yes, it is. I agree. I
So,
agree.
what's your second favorite collectible?
Oh, oh, I have. So now I don't know what the original name is. So in Spanish, in Puerto Rico, they have these little clowns that are sort of, I don't want to say devilish clowns, but they're clowns that are, they have spindly, spiky hair, like they're of African descent. And it's sort of some type of clown that's both indigenous to Puerto Rico, but from the Africans who came to Puerto Rico. And I just think it's such a whimsical little thing that is so cute, you know. And Puerto Rico is probably one of my favorite places on the earth. I love Puerto Rico.
I love that too. I do too. In fact, I love the whole Caribbean or Caribbean, whichever you pronounce it.
I'm never sure which one it is either. And I worked on a cruise line. Oh, and I will say that the fact that you had Fortuna Cruise Line, I love that, because I worked for Commodore Cruise Line for about 4 or 5 years, and it was I worked shoreside with them, but it was everything was always an emergency with the cruise line. Nothing ever was done at a normal pace. Something was always off with the cruise ship. So it's like, you know, so speaking of Cooper and his compassion, so with Emmeline, you gave her a situation similar to Cooper's in the fact that she's not getting some compassion from or empathy from coworkers. And I found that to be, of course, I was sad for her, but it, of course, propels her to do what she needs to do. But yet at the same time, I thought, you know, are most coworkers compassionate? I hope so, but I don't know. I am compassionate adjacent, I think, Patty. You know, I, I'm not big on sympathy. I try to have, if I'm empathetic, I can understand it. But if somebody's walking around with a sympathy bucket, I don't have any sympathy for them. So I'm just like,
I
so
find it hard to believe. But I knew that there was another connection additionally to our Carolina's mutual relatives. And that is I worked for Holland America Cruise Lines.
oh, wow.
And so I agree with you. There's a lot of um, constant
Trauma, trauma.
trauma and
Yes.
crises
I
and
mean, it was always something. And it's funny. So when I was reading it, I sort of chuckled. I felt sorry for Emmeline because I felt like I knew her life because I'm like, Jesus Christ, it was always, something missed the ship, something didn't get delivered. They ran into the dock. They ran, well, hell, we had a fire on one or two ships, and it's like, just all kinds of crazy stuff. So I felt for her though, because I'm like, I totally understand you.
one of our ships sank off the coast of Alaska when it was repositioning to Indonesia in the fall. I think it was October. And they think what happened is someone was smoking on deck and they threw the cigarette butt and it got sucked into the engine and started to fire. And the ship
Oh,
sank and it was in the middle of the night in rough seas. And everyone
oh yeah.
was saved, but the whole company was, every employee was called out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember I had a trip to Spokane, Washington planned, and the chairman of the board decided that he wanted to have a mandatory board meeting on Monday. And I had to cut my vacation short and fly home. And he got up on Monday morning with a slight sniffle and didn't come and canceled the board meeting. But that's just the way life was at a cruise line. Everything was an emergency. It's got to be right now. And I hope his foot slides the next time he's on the bicycle and he falls. So, I hate to say that about him, but he was a pain in the ass.
Well, to talk about employees, I worked with a group we were all young. We were all the same age and we got along really great. And we had potlucks after work and the weekends. We went bicycle riding all over the San Juan Islands together. We were very close. But when I gave my notice and quit to move to California, I think they took it as a betrayal and nobody ever contacted me after that.
I hate to laugh, Patty, but I totally understand you. Yeah, it was like, I came to California with that same cruise line, and the venture here was a failure, and it ended up sinking the entire company. But it was just, it was horrible. But we had some good times, though. I mean, I loved ships in general, so I was like, I get it.
It was a great time. I mean, it was really a growth experience for me because I was in charge of the department. I was a manager of reservation sales. And so all the complaints came to me.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah. So I really learned how to say, oh, yes, I'm sorry you're in Vancouver, Washington and not Vancouver, Canada, but here's what we could do.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. So besides our main characters, you give us a wide chocolate box full of unique secondary characters. Do you have one of those that's your favorite and why?
I love them all because I'm really a fan of quirkiness. I love quirkiness. And I always, in my novels, they seem to always have an older, cranky woman character. And this time it was Pearl Potts, the realtor. And she's just has an opinion about everything and nothing phases her. And she's willing to say whatever it takes to get her her point across. I've just known women like that. There was this lovely woman in my mother's assisted living facility who she was just like Pearl Potts, but I adored her because
Yes,
she was honest. She said what she believed.
that's
And
it.
yeah, so I love old people. I mean, I guess I'm one now, but
Yes, you like me, Patty, so you got another old person with you. So, but that I think that is when I'm reading a book, I love the quirky characters that go along with it because we run into them every day, provided we're awake. If you go through life with your eyes closed, you don't see them, but ordinarily we see them because they're that person that's wearing the odd colored outfit or says the wrong thing at the wrong time, but not meaning any harm. It just slips out wrong or what have you. But they're always so certain of what they're saying is the honest to God's truth.
I remember one day I was visiting my mom at lunch, and Ruth was her name. We were sitting talking at the table, and she mentioned, she said, well, that she had had a stroke, I believe. And I said, oh, I didn't know that's why you were here. And she said, what do you think? I'm here for the food?
Not in a nursing home or an assisted living, she's not.
Oh, that's so funny. She was
Oh,
just adorable. I loved talking to her.
I
Anyway,
love it. Well, and and when we keep our eyes open as authors, we get to see these characters and they come to life on page. And you did such a great job in bringing Pearl and all the rest of them to life, Patty. I just enjoyed it a lot.
thank you. That means so much coming from you. It really does.
Oh,
Because,
thank you.
yeah, I
Well,
love your
again,
energy and your wit and your humor and the whole thing. You're just a great guy.
thank you so much. We love it. We each other's fan club. I love that. So again, the book is A Dark September Night. It's by Patricia Smiley. It's highly recommended. I look forward to the next one already. There's more Justice Bay coming, isn't there?
Yes, the next one will come out in August of this year.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
And I think it's really, really, really a fun book. I like
Good.
it.
Good. If it's like this one, it is going to be a winner. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Out with Dan. You can find more information about this podcast and its host at outwithdan.com, on Twitter at outwithdan, and on Instagram and Facebook at GoOutWithDan. This podcast is hosted by Authors on the Air Global Radio Network, and the theme music is provided by bensound.com. Join us again soon for the next episode of Out with Dan.